God will never lose his power. Y'all remember that? Amen. Truly it's a blessing to be in the house of God one more time and just giving honor to him, to my pastor, to the pulpit, each and every member. It is my privilege today to introduce my wife. I've been with her for a while now, and now I got to know her. She's a great woman of God. Very anointed. But I'm not going to hold up. I know she's ready. So I want y'all to receive her in her own way. So I ask you to stand at your feet as she comes to you. Missionary Michelle, Minister Michelle.
Praise God for being here today. Amen. I praise God because he loves me. And I know God loves me. I thank God for saving my soul. I thank God because I was a pistol when I was young. But God still seemed fit to save me. I was disobedient, but God still seemed fit to save me. I wanted to go my own way. I was hard-headed. But God still seemed fit to save me. I thank God for loving me when I didn't love myself, or I didn't know what love was, and I was looking at love in the wrong places. But God still seemed fit to save me. I'm going to sing this little song, but he's playing, so I calm down some, because I get nervous. So I'm going to sing a little bit of it, then we're going to go to the word and I'm going to sit down. I love you, Jesus. I worship and adore. Just want to tell you, Lord, I love you more than anything. Just want to tell you, Lord, I love you more than anything. It helps me calm down a little bit. I'm going to come out of Genesis 16th chapter, the 1st to the 6th verse, and I'm going to skip over to the 13th verse. Genesis, the 16th chapter, 1 through 6, and we're going to skip over to the 13th. Everyone has it? Now Sarah, Abraham's wife, bore him no children. And she had a handmaid, thank you, sweetie, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. And Sarah said unto Abram, behold, now the Lord hath restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go to my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarah. And Sarah, Abram's wife, took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian. Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, after Abram had dwelt in 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband Abram to be his wife. And he went in unto Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes. And Sarah said unto Abram, my wrong be upon me. I have given my maid unto thy bosom. And when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. The Lord judged between me and thee. And Abram said unto Sarah, behold, thy maid is in thy hand. Do to her as it pleases thee. And when Sarah dealt harshly with her, she fled from her face. 13th verse. And she called the name of the Lord that spoke unto her. Thou God seeth me. For she said, have I also here looked up after him that seeth me. I'm going to go over this just a little bit more. The name of my sermon is God Sees Me. Amen. Now Sarah, Abram's wife, buried him with no children. And she had a handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. And Sarah said unto Abram, behold now, the Lord hath restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go in unto my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarah. And she called the name of the Lord that spoke unto her, thou God seeth me. For she said, have I also here looked after him that seeth me. In other words, Hagar said, I have seen the God who sees me. I have seen the God who sees me. We go through life questioning God, or second guessing ourselves, wondering if God will really do what we have asked of him. Or do he really hear my prayers? Or can he hear me in the place where I am now? Sometimes the devil puts thoughts in our minds and says, what if God is not real? He doesn't hear your prayers. Or you have to get someone else to pray for you because he doesn't hear you. It's good to get you not to believe in God by telling you lies. Sometimes we go through hard times in our lives that makes us question our walk with God. Have you ever got in water that was so deep? Or maybe you can't swim. You trying to grab a hold of something solid enough that you can hold, that will hold you up from drowning. You are in the water fighting for your life. Or someone gets in trouble with the law, real trouble. And someone says, and you say, can you really get me out of this? Okay. You get sick, really sick. Or you lose your job. Or you lose your home. Or your car breaks down. Or your husband or your wife walks out on you. Or you don't have enough money to pay your bills. Or you look over on a job for the promotion and you know that you are qualified for the job that you have been praying for. And you say, I knew it. That always happens to me. I can't win for losing. Or let's go to church. You're looked over. Or no one sees your gifts. Or shows you love. Or you see to win. Or you see you when you are hurting. Or no one sees you when you are hurting. I don't understand when you do talk to them about your pain. And you say, surely not here. I expect that in the streets, but not in church. Then you say to God, Lord, you said you would never leave me nor forsake me. Deuteronomy 31:6. But I can't see you and I can't feel you. But this I can see. This is in my face and I can see it and I can feel it. It's snapping at me. So disappointment and fear is on every side. Then you say, God, can you hear me? Can you see me? Do you even care? Someone throws you a life preserver, but you don't trust that. It's not big enough. You are fighting for your life. The name Hagar means flight, strength, stranger, runaway. She was Abraham's concubine and the mother of his son Ishmael. Hagar was purchased in Egypt. She served as a maid to Sarah, who gave her to Abraham to conceive in error. In other words, she was a slave. If Hagar had any children, they would have been Sarah's property. This was done without asking counsel of the Lord. Unbelief worked. God's almighty power was forgotten. In every relation or situation in life, there is some crosses for us to bear. Foul temptation, fleshly wisdom puts us out of God's way. This would not be the case if we would ask counsel of God by prayer and by his word before we attempt this which is doubtful. Hagar was a woman who never thought God would take notice of her. She wasn't important or wealthy or full of faith. Her only claim to fame was that she ended up in the middle of a big, ugly, complicated mess. That God knew who she was. Hagar had a bad attitude, and much of her mess was self-inflicted. Sarah and Hagar could not seem to get along. Hagar was a servant and a servant girl, and she had lack of respect. Apparently, at one time, Hagar was going to return to her relatives in Egypt. Hagar was evicted and unemployed. Hagar was impregnated by Abram and thrown aside by Sarah. Hagar was broken by the conspiracy between a husband and a barren woman. Hagar was hurting and helpless with no solution in sight. There was no alpha daughter to help her. Hagar was set up by Sarah and used by Abraham. Hagar fell out of favor with the woman who asked her for a sexual favor. But God called her by her name. Hagar was probably 18 or 19 years old. She is meant to be a surrogate mother for Sarah, who would take the child as her own. This was not good news for Hagar. She did not want to sleep with an old man of 85 years old.
Say it.
She had no choice. She had no choice. She had to do it. She also would have been the wet mother for the child, but the child was no longer her own. God will meet you where you end up at, and he will call you by your name. She was cast aside by Sarah and Abram as a nobody, but God knew her name. To God, Hagar was somebody. There are times when we may have a desert experience, feeling pain and going through difficult times in our lives, filled with despair and hopeless, feeling like God is not there, or God is not hearing me, or why me, or why do I keep going around this mountain over and over again, or I don't want to go through this again, or you start feeling like you are alone and God is not here. So we go to the desert to die, but you're not alone. In 1 Kings 19:3, Elijah ran from Jezebel. You know Elijah. He's the one that made all of King Ahab's prophets, all 450 prophets, look like fools at Mount Carmel. And there was Moses in Exodus 2:11 and 15. When Moses killed an Egyptian for hurting a Hebrew, he knew, you know Moses, the one that fled from Pharaoh and lived in the land of Midian. And in Genesis, there is Jacob, who fled from Esau because he tricked Isaac to bless him first. And then there's Hagar, who ran away from Sarah because she thought that she was better than Sarah, because Hagar got pregnant. And an attitude in her mouth got her in trouble. You may be down today, but God knows your name. You may be abused, refused, confused, depressed, oppressed, or come from a dysfunctional family. Family misunderstood, a loner, have mental issues, are being used, are being looked over, but God still knows your name. In Psalms 139:8, it says, if I ascend up into heaven, thou art there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, thou art there. He knows you apart from any and everyone else. He knew you from your mother's womb. He knows your thoughts. He knows your deeds. He knows your hurts. He knows your weaknesses. He knows your sickness. He knows your circumstances. He knows your down sittings and your uprisings. He knows you today. God knows your name. Jeremiah 1:5 says, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. It is amazing that God knows my name, but it wasn't until salvation when I knew his name. There is no name other greater. There is no name other name that's worth for me. There's no other name given whereby man can be saved. His name is saving. His name is a prayer endorser. He is a healing God. His name is soothing. He has a soothing name. His name is powerful. His name is a demon-scaring name. His name is a delivering name. His name is a sin-remitting name. His name is death-conquering name. His name is present. He's a present refuge. His name is God-given. His name is a praiseworthy name. His name, he is the last Adam. He's the mighty and the commander of the Lord. He is the door. He's the everlasting Father. He's the faithful witness and God all over. He's the horn of salvation and the chosen one of God. He's a defender, and all tears have been hushed away because I know his name. His name is Lord of glory, Lord God Almighty, mighty God, the mighty one of Jacob, the one and only Prince of Peace, my Redeemer, resurrection of death, and he's the life and the root of Jesse. He's the shepherd and the overseer of souls. He's the son of the Most High God. He's the true vine. He's the Adam, and he's the Alpha and the Omega. He's the angel of the presence. He's the angel of the Lord. He's the angel. He's the anointed one. He's the apostle. He's the army of the Lord. He's the author of life. He's the author of my faith. Blessed and only ruler. He is the branch. He's the bread of life. He's the chief shepherd. He's the sheep's cornerstone. He's the chosen of God. He's Christ of God. He's the commander of the army. He is the commander. He's the good counselor. He's David. He's the defender. He's the deliverer. He is the door. He's everlasting life. Everlasting Father. He's faithful witness. First and the last. Firstborn of the dead. Firstborn of the creation. Glory of the Lord. God all over. God, the good shepherd, the high priest. He's guaranteed. Head of the church. Head of all things. Holy One. Holy One. Holy One. Holy One of Israel. Horn of salvation. I am Emmanuel. Yeah, Emmanuel. I am ruler. His name is Jesus. He's King giver. He's the leader. He is the light. He's the light of the world. He's the Lion of the tribe of Judah. He's Lord of all. He's Lord of glory. Lord of righteousness. Lord of God Almighty. Lord God of the prophets. Mediator. Mighty one of Jacob. Mighty God. Morning star. Nazareth. One and only. One before us. Our Passover. Prince of Peace. The prophet. Ransom. Redeemer. Resurrection of life. Righteous one. He's the rock. Root of Jesse. Root of David. Root and offspring of David. Root of kings of the earth. Root of creation of God. Root of Israel. Savior. Servant. Shepherd of the overseer of the souls. Son of the Most High. He's the Son of Man. Son of Man. He's my bread when I'm hungry. He's my food on my table. He's my God. Do you know him? Have you ever did anything for you? Do you know him for who he is? Do you know him as Lord of Lords in your life? Do you know him as Prince of Peace in your life? He's a prince over troubled waters. He's the one. He's the only one that can get you out of trouble. He's the only one that can get you out of trouble. No matter what man says about you, you don't listen to man. Listen to what God's word says. He says you're an overcomer. The overcomer you are. He says no weapon against you shall prosper. It's not going to prosper. No weapon is going to prosper. Lean on Jesus. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not, lean not, lean not into your own understanding. He is the shepherd. He'll bring you out. He'll bring you over. Trust in him. Trust in him. Ain't it good that he sees you? Ain't it good that he knows your name? He knows who you are. Don't ever think that you're going through something by yourself. Because you're not. He knows who you are.